Hi, my name's Adam. I'm a game designer at Kite Games, and we're developing Southern Strike 5. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the generals that are in the game, some of the battlegrounds that you'll be playing on, and the new Doctrine System that we've brought to the game. Still have the same three factions that you can play as on Southern Strike 4. You can play as the Western Allies, the Axis forces, or the Soviets. We've kind of upgraded that a little bit now, so that while you can still choose from one of the three different commanders to play as in each faction, and now we have commanders defined by offensive, defensive, and tactical. To take the Western Allies as an example, we've got Montgomery and Patton, which were also in Southern Strike 4, but now we've got Bernhard Freiberg, who was quite important in certain parts of World War II, especially some missions like Monte Cassino, which is one of the missions in Southern Strike 5. So what we wanted to do with commanders was to develop them in a way that was kind of tied to their historical history, the things that they did, their approaches to combat. A good example of that is Montgomery, who was quite famous for his ideology of steel, not flesh, meaning he would rather sacrifice armored units, tanks and the like, instead of sacrificing his infantrymen. And that was an approach that we kind of used for his set of skills, where his skills are more about defending and using the infantry you have and keeping them alive as long as they can. But that's just one of the unique commanders that we have. The others are all unique in all different ways, and it does depend on the faction that you're playing as.
Get onto HQ. Call in some reinforcements.
So for the Axis forces, we have two new commanders that we've introduced into the game. We've got Heinrici and we've got Rommel. Both are quite well known at the time. Heinrici is our defensive commander for the German side, for the Axis forces, more about building stronger defensive locations, setting in place and having a very secure front line to defend from. Rommel is obviously one of the most famous commanders in World War II. He's more about focusing on mobility, as his historical tendency was. And if you attack from the sides, you're going to get more damage with your tanks there.
Reroute our troops. Don't let them flank our positions.
On the Soviet side, we have two new commanders as well. We have Timoshenko and Malinovsky, who are both quite well known at the time. Timoshenko is our defensive commander, and his skill set is about improving the survivability of your infantry with increased maximum health, improved health regen, and if they take damage, they'll have a little speed boost as well. While Malinovsky, he's more about really forcing the assault, being very aggressive. Actually, he has an active ability, which some of the other commanders have, and his is to, if you activate it, you can essentially give your tank some extra damage during that period, at the cost of potentially receiving more damage. So it's kind of a risk reward. We did try to have a good variety in the missions that we have. So some are smaller scale, more urban conflict style missions. Others are really large tank battles. It depends on the setting, on the environment, on historically what happened. While we do try to stick to the historical elements of each operation or each conflict, we still have to remember it's a game. We're trying to be a little bit more about leaning towards the entertainment side of it rather than too much about the historical accuracy. So it's more of a foundation for the experience, and then using those as ways to make fun gameplay. All of this ties into the new and upgraded Doctrine System. We wanted to really enhance that again so that we could push this player kind of driven strategic element to the forefront of Sudden Strike 5. What that means is essentially the doctrines now are more significant skills, and you can kind of choose which ones you want. You can do this by equipping what we call doctrine cards, and these are essentially skills that you can equip, and you'll be able to equip more as you progress through the game, and you'll even gain access to new ones that you might not have had otherwise. The cards themselves are tied to each of the different types. So we talked about the commanders, how they're defensive, offensive, or tactical, but the doctrine cards are also the same. What this means is you can only equip a doctrine card in a relevant slot, and the commander of a specific type has one additional slot of that type. So here, Freiberg, for example, has one additional tactical doctrine slot. What that means is he can now have 2 more tactical skills that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Doctrine cards themselves, they give you 1 base ability. For example, Field Repair will let you repair any kind of critical damage by using an item within that armored unit. Or Tactical Smoke will allow infantry units to throw smoke grenades and field of vision. Those are just a couple of examples for the tactical side, but there are quite many available in the game, and you can really customize, pick and choose how you want to play.